And welcome back to another painting video. Today we're going to be painting our Armored Sentinel for our Kasrkin army. Let's get started with, we're going to use a bigger brush on this guy because it is mostly big armor. I'm going to use this big gross brush here, and we're going to get we start with a uniform green for the bulk of the armor. So let's get that going here. We do probably like 2 coats of this just to avoid like the streakiness and all that other kind of stuff that you get with the paint. So let's get started here. And we're gonna be trying to just get the armor panels, all this stuff. We can avoid the inside there. Okay, this brush is probably way too big. Now that I'm here, I'm like, this brush is way too big to be doing this with. This is probably better for the tanks when we get to those. So let's just go to our regular brush and then just deal with it this way. This way we avoid as much like over painting as we can, so we don't have to worry about going over parts again and stuff like that. So it's like, maybe I'll make those. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate all of our colors onto this frame. So I'm just trying to like plot in my head where I want to put them as I'm going. You'll notice I did not build this model per the instructions. I put the weapons in different locations because I think it looks way cooler like this. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do anything like this with it either, which is surprising because I think more people would change it to be more like I'm gonna say traditional mech, but it's kind of what I'm going for, is more of a like mech warrior style, because I do like that a lot more than when the guns are all the way out here. It doesn't look as good to me. So we're gonna get on this, try to avoid like the engine parts, even though this like exhaust manifold intake, air intake thing is engine part probably, but we get to decide how we paint our guys. So we're just gonna go get that little base plate there, get this little guy here. Make sure our brush is still, our paint's still thinned pretty good. And we'll along here, probably get in here. Here, let's get this like casing guy here, avoiding that. Little heat guard here. And just attack the rest of this with our brush best we can. It's a vehicle, it doesn't have to be pretty. It's probably been bashed around a few times. So let's just get in here. get this like shell on the light here, as well as the holder for it, like the clamp. But we'll be fixing, it's not gonna all be green, so it's okay. Try not to hit everything, but if you do, it's not a big deal. Get here. I think this plate right here, I'm gonna also paint a different shade. No, we'll paint it green. Get in here where our little buzzsaw thingy is. Like that. It dries out so fast here. Okay, and then we're gonna get our plates. All the armor plates. Try to avoid the hitting the legs as much as we can. Make sure that we're in focus here. Okay, cool. Get these little covers. And then the little feet bit here. Little stompers, little stompy guys. Paint the backs of the armor panels here. Just to keep that clean. We'll move on to this side now. No, I'm like, maybe I should have done the under part first, but I think it'll be easier to touch up than this stuff will be. So I think getting this will be good. And any like metallic-y bits that we get on this will just look like damage, versus if we get it on the walker bits, then it won't look as good. So probably made the right call in the end. Then we gotta get the little knee pad here. And this piece here. Like that. I think, well, the casings of our guns are black, so we're gonna leave it against my judgment. I'm gonna leave it. I want to paint it with some green and stuff, but I'm trying to keep it coherent with the rest of my army. You can. There's nothing stopping you. And then now we're gonna start going over for a second coat on this stuff to get it smoother. Get a smoother finish on this stuff than we had it before. Keep all the streaks and stuff out of it. Like I said before, it's a vehicle. You don't have to do the cleanest job ever. because it is running around and doing all sorts of stuff, so it's gonna be a little messed up and dirty and hit and dinged everywhere. So depends on just the level of detail that you want on your guys. Like especially the underside here doesn't matter as much as like the front facing armor pads and stuff like that. We're running out of glue here, I mean not glue, paint, so let's put a little bit more down on our thing here. And then we're gonna go back to these bits here. Make sure we're getting good coverage. So that it looks better. Just a smoother finish is what we're looking for here. The feet, not as much because they're stomping around like we've been saying, so you can kind of avoid the little feet pads that we did. And just go in with highlights later. Here we go. Okay. So now we'll switch to our tan color, which is this German camo beige World War II color. And that's what it's going to go on. Just the little shoulder pads, I think, for this guy. Thin this out a little bit. So we're just gonna get these little, these are supposed to be the, like the fenders that go, I think they go like here on the model when you build it with the instructions, but I think they make really cool looking shoulder pads. Yeah, I had to cut them down a little bit. I'm gonna be doing a build video on how to build them like this. If people are interested, you'll be able to replicate this for your own armies. I guess I should have probably done that first, but I built this a long time ago, and I'm not sure that I remember how to build it like this, so it's going to be a learning process for you and for me when we go to it. So I'm gonna make sure we get underneath here. Okay, let that dry for a minute so it can get a second coat. In the meantime, I forgot I did not hit this part. I just wanted to get the little clamp around this guy with the green. And while we wait for that to dry, we can switch to black and then just fix some of the overpainting that we've done that we don't want to have happen. So like on here, we got some green on these little bits here, these little rotator bits. Just gonna clean that up a little bit, as well as look down here and see if there's anything. So we have some on this leg We definitely don't want any on the leg and the feet, so we're gonna have to clean those up because we want those to have like a metallic-y wornness to them. So we're just gonna go through here and touch all those up. Should be pretty easy. Also, like looking back here, we have the little exhaust pipes for the exhaust that we hit. So we're just gonna be cleaning up all that stuff as we go here. So just keep an eye out for any areas that you might have hit. Is it supposed to be green up there? It is supposed to be green up there. Well, we're gonna have to go through the green again in a minute after we just clean up this stuff really fast. Getting those bits here, get those are fine. That clamp is fine. It's a little harder to get into that clamp than the other one with the chainsaw in it. Just clean up the gun here. And then I know I hit some of this stuff here. So just go up in here, clean that out, get the little grate that's on here. And then the ball joint down here. Okay. I'll switch back to the green for a minute here. Just clean. We're just doing more checks against some of this stuff to make sure it is what we want. And then on the feet, there's this little teeny crossbar here that we want to get on all the feet. So just go across those. Make sure we're getting them, and including also getting the sides of the armor panels. That's what we want to be doing. And then the bottom lip of this. Okay. Now that tan should be drier. So now we can get our second coat in here. And just pull it through there. Make sure we get a nice smooth finish on there. And we'll go across the sides and do the same thing. Okay. Now we can switch to, let's go to the metallic here. We're gonna go to this metallic color called metallic. It's the closest one to the gunmetal that I could find. Give it a good shake. It's pretty watery though. It's a lot more watery than it used to be. Not really a fan of it, of whatever they did to change it. But here we are. So we're gonna be getting the blades of the chainsaw here. as well as any Aquilas that we see. Any like iconography. The barrels, not the barrels, but the shrouds on our guns. Like the whole tip, I guess we can say. There. And I think we're gonna get some of these. Well, we have there. Some of these like fasteners and tubes. We'll get the back of the light here and these little antenna bits. If we can get the cage, we'll get the cage. Get these little handholds. The antennas. All the Vox stuff. Making sure that we're getting coverage there. And we're also going to be getting the tops of these exhausts here. We'll leave the actual exhaust casing thing at the bottom black. Paint the outside plates on this. This is like a las cannon thingy, but I'm using it as like a parachute, like a grab chute thingy, like connector, because all my guys are like shock troopers and drop infantry. I just want them to have like a way of like pretending that they were dropped out of a ship, you know. So all my vehicles are going to have some type of thing like that on it. So it's like their drop equipment. Okay, so now, wait, no, we're going to go back here. We're going to get this guy. This little doodad here. Oop. And then I think it's the majority of it. Okay, and then now we're gonna switch to a dry brush for the rest of like the metallic coating. So we're just gonna get some on this brush here. Wipe a lot of it off. And we're gonna kind of go at the rest of this with just kind of a heavier dry brush of metallic. Need some more down. Wiping it off. Just giving it some metal wear. Get this arm here, just the arm, because the part that is hooked to the thing will be different. Some on there. Okay. Go back to regular one here, and then I want to get this guy. And then we're gonna go to our medium sea gray to do some like edge highlights on the black bits. But as I'm not very good at edge highlighting, so it's gonna kind of be a mess, but we'll see. So let's just take this, just get some of those edges. Just to highlight some variations here. Like that. The edge here. Like that. Same thing on this guy, just kind of some very light outlining of that stuff. It's nothing crazy. Okay, so then we're going to take our gray here, and I want to get the missile also painted in this gray. That's what color our hunter killers are going to be. Trying to avoid the exhaust bit on it. I'm not gonna do like the cartoony white colors that sometimes some people do. Okay, now let's get a wash on this guy, our non-oil. That'll go over all the green. I can probably take this brush at this point. And we will hit the model with it. This is a very, very a lot of it. So we're just gonna kind of pull from it and just bring it along with us. Use it to get the whole thing coated. And just pull from the areas that we've done to put it on new areas. That way Oops, sorry if I took it out of the view of the camera. That's my bad. Just get over all the green bits. Dirty this guy up. Try to get the metallics here and here. Okay. And then we'll switch to a Seraphim Sepia wash for the tan. Like that. Let's pull some of this. I need a little bit more non oil on this part because I wasn't really able to get those with the big brush. Okay, and then now all that's left is just a little detailing with our symbols here. So let's get our medium sea gray that we already put down, and we're gonna start doing some of our camo patterns. Oh, and it's still super wet, so we'll probably have to wait. We should probably wait. It would be smart of us to wait. Just put their paint in there while we're there. I can cover that up with camo though, so it'll be fine. Yeah, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit for this to dry. But actually, we might not have to. Let's get some red, and we'll get the lenses while we're waiting for the bulk of everything to dry. So for here, we can get this guy. I think this might be one. I'm not 100% sure on that though. I think that might be all of them. We'll put one on here. Like this thing just disaster after disaster. It's fine, we'll fix that. I don't think that's a camera anyway. So let's put the red there. All right, let's give it a little bit. Let me check something really fast. I'm still here. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Oh, there's a scalpel. I mean, a X-Acto knife on the floor. That's fun. Okay, so let's get some medium sea gray ready here. It's still wet. I can see that it's pretty wet, but maybe we can start low in these little areas that aren't as wet. So we're just gonna start putting on our outlines for our camo here. So we kind of just do like little mountainous shapes. And that's how there's very like jagged and boxy. And that's how I would do the Kasrkin camo. That's how I do the Kasrkin camo. So just kind of pick out some areas. And then just fill them in with mountain shapes. Like that. Probably not going to be able to do it on the actual feet themselves. So just do a couple here and there on that little piece there. So you just want like these like Tetris shapes and mountains and jaggedy bits is kind of how I do it. And you don't need the whole thing because the red is on the inside, so. So now that we have that, we can just take that. And then get our camo pattern blocked out here. Just fitting them in kind of haphazardly, trying to make it look kind of random. Not really like it's stenciled on or anything like that. Just kind of looking for areas and filling it in. Try not to leave any one area solid. This would probably not have any on it because it's like a heat sink. So now we will take our whole red and that will be the inside of the camo pattern. So we'll start from the bottom here and we're just gonna go inside and just kind of make it the same shape on the inside, leaving the outline of what you had on it. And that's what gives us our camo. For this one, I'm going to do it a little more harsher just because it's like a weird area. Like that. I think this is also like maybe like the colonial marine pattern for aliens. Not 100% sure on that, but I'm sure there's probably some inspiration in there from that. Let me just get in here. Same thing here. Like that. We're gonna get this side now. It's kind of like a weird like explosion symbol if you really like look at it. It's like it's weird. So we're just gonna carry all that on like that. And that's all the little camo bits done. I do them after because I like how they, when they're brighter on the model instead of being darkened from the wash. So now we're gonna go to an olive green, and this is kind of our final edge highlight of the green. We don't do a whole lot of this, and you know, I use edge highlight very loosely because I don't know if what I'm doing is considered the proper way or anything like that, but you know, just get some of those like high spots. The little top of this. And get like the corner where like light collects. Anything weird there, like this little guy, the tops of this armor. Little bits here and there. Oops, I didn't get down on the feet on that one. We'll get that in a second. But yeah, just some little teeny highlights there. I'm gonna go back to our red because I missed down here. And here. And then I want to go here, do that, and we'll just fix this area here, like that. And I think that'll be it. Let me just we'll clean up around this really fast because it's got a little dirty. But yeah, that's how we're gonna paint our Sentinels. As always, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And then we'll catch you guys on the next one.